for the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
All right, Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley. Alderwoman Tierney.
Present.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
Present.
Alderwoman Pendle Charles.
Present.
Alderwoman Finlayson.
Present.
Alderman Shannon Meyer.
Present.
Alderman Gay.
Present.
Alderman Savage.
Present.
Alderman Arnett.
Present.
Thank you.
Mr. City Attorney, would you please present the next item on the agenda?
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Acting Mayor Savage.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tierney.
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
Aye.
Alderwoman Pendle Charles.
Aye.
Alderwoman Finlayson.
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer.
Present.
Alderman Gay.
Aye.
Alderman Arnett.
Aye.
Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is ceremonial items, beginning with ID 10824, citation for Karen Ann Patovi.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
Thank you very much. Should I stay here or go?
Oh, go ahead.
Great. I have this great citation to read for one of our city residents. On behalf of the residents of the city of Annapolis, we are honored to present this citation to Karen Ann Patavi for your continuous and unwavering support of the Food Friday program. Since early 2022, you've generously donated boxes of cereal to our program every week. Thank you for donating over 1,200 boxes of cereal. It's at least 10 boxes every single week since 2020. We're deeply appreciative of her dedication and generosity, which have made a significant impact to our community and our Food Friday families. Thank her. This is presented to Karen Ann Patavi on the 17th day of June, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is petitions, reports, and communications. Begin with update from the mayor.
All right. So good evening, everyone. I'm Acting Mayor Rob Savage, sitting in tonight for Mayor Buckley, who is out of town on family business until tomorrow. I was honored earlier today to cut the ribbon on a new 150 kilowatt DC rapid charger in the parking lot of the Visitor Center, also known as the Ellipse. This is the first of this type of charger in city limits. These are the chargers we might typically see on a highway or someplace where people need to get charged and get on their way. Typically, a rapid charger can fully charge a vehicle in about a half hour. We know that when we build out the infrastructure, we make driving an EV more acceptable, more practical, and more convenient. This partnership with BGE and Visit Annapolis is a great model that we can replicate in all corners of the city to keep moving forward on the path to a more sustainable future. On Wednesday, city offices will be closed in celebration of Juneteenth, also known as America's Second Independence Day, or Alderwoman Finlayson's birthday. Pip Moyer and Stanton Center will be closed, and transit will run on a Sunday schedule. Our own Annapolis Recreation and Parks is hosting a Cars Beach reunion celebration from 3 to 7 p.m. on Wednesday at the Annapolis Maritime Museum, location on Back Creek at the Moyer campus, with access to Elktonia Cars Beach during the event. It's free and open to the public with bands and food trucks. There is no parking on the site, so please park at the Bay Forest Shopping Center, Hillsmere Elementary, or Powell Park, and take the free shuttle to and from the event. During the event, we will be collecting oral histories. So for those who went to Cars Beach to see a show back in the day, think about what you remember, what it was like, who did you see in concert? Or if your grandparents told you stories about going to Cars, come and recount those stories on tape. There's no cost to participate in this event. That's this Wednesday from 3 to 7 p.m. Then this Saturday, the Annapolis Juneteenth Committee will hold their annual parade and festival. Now, the parade steps off from St. John's Street at Calvert Street. That's a bit of a different location than normal. That's going to be starting off at noon, and the festival will run from noon to 9 p.m. at Bates Athletic Complex. The event is free with vendors and food, live music, and fun for the whole family. Stay to the end for a fireworks display. Eastport Choice Neighborhood Initiative, or CNI, will host a community paint day from 2 to 4 p.m. on Saturday, June 29th at President and Madison Street. We're encouraging the community to help us create the Compass Crossing pedestrian safety mural as a part of our early action items for the reimagining of Eastport Terrace and Harbor House project. Please wear comfortable clothes, and in case of rain, the event will be rescheduled for Sunday, June 30th. The Banneker Douglas Tubman Museum has asked us to share information about Rhythm and Hues, a summer block party. It'll be held on June 29th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Banneker Douglas Museum on Franklin Street, newly honored and known as Alpha Phi Alpha Way. Now let's take a moment to acknowledge Alderwoman Finlayson for her work to get that street dedication through the council and helping to coordinate the unveiling event on Saturday. So, thank you, Sheila. And it was a festive turnout, and we are proud to have Alpha Phi Alpha Way just a few blocks from the home of Maryland's favorite fraternity brother, Governor Wes Moore. I'd like to thank everyone who applied for the city's summer internship program. We've had an overwhelming number of applicants this year, more than 700 in total. It's been a huge job reading through and shortlisting these applications. We'll be sending out our first round of notifications tomorrow and look forward to having our young adult interns join us for orientation next week. Our young teens interns will start their orientation a week later, and I think we also owe Alderman Gay a round of applause for getting this program started a couple years back. Of course, we'd like to bring on board all of these amazing young people who applied, but that isn't possible. If you're not successful this year, please know you're up against a very large and competitive field. Don't let that daunt you from applying for opportunities in the future. Thanks again for applying and for your patience as we work through this process. The future is bright with so many talented and committed young people out there. Lastly, the No Harm Violence Prevention Team will host a Gun Violence Awareness Wellness Fair from 3 to 6 p.m. on Sunday, June 30th at Pip Moyer Recreation Center. The Wellness Fair will raise awareness of the damage that gun violence causes in our communities. There will be food activities, Stop the Bleed training, sports clinics, resource fairs, and more. So wear orange and support Gun Violence Awareness Month next Sunday. So thank you all, and let's get on with the meeting. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item.
Yes, sir. The next item is reports by committees.
All right. Anybody would like to go? Alderwoman O'Neill.
Thank you very much. The Transportation Committee met last week, and we discussed the proposed Waterworks parking. Talked with the Chief of Comprehensive Planning, Eric Lushinsky. We talked about some of the options they're looking for parking, for revitalizing some of those areas in order to get more people out into the park. And then we also had a update from our premium parking folks in regards to Hillman Garage and some of the things that we've been tasking them with making changes for over the past 9 months. And our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, July 10th at 4 p.m. here in Council Chambers.
Thank you. Are there any other committee reports? Alderman Shandemeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Economic Matters will not be meeting on Wednesday the 19th, which would have been our usual meeting time due to Juneteenth. However, we are going to be rescheduling likely to Tuesday, July 2nd at 6:30 as a virtual meeting, which is just getting confirmed, but just mark that on your calendar.
Excellent. Thank you. Alderman Gay.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, the Housing and Human Welfare Committee last met on May the 29th, and we made favorable recommendations for an amendment of 0524 and we postponed R1924. We were supposed to meet tomorrow, but because of the holidays the following day for staff, I'll postpone into either the first week of July or the last week of June, so. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other reports? Alderwoman Tierney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Finance Committee meeting met on June 5th. They gave a favorable recommendation for Fund Transfer 8-24, which is the Forfeiture and Asset Seizure Fund and Reforestation Fund. A favorable recommendation for 08-24, which is before you tonight, Department of Central Services. No action on the exempt service job classification 09-24, and recommended favorably R29-24, the collective bargaining agreements that are before you tonight. We were to meet this Wednesday, but for same reason, it's a city holiday, and our next meeting is to be determined hopefully in early July. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? All right, I will give Environmental Matters Committee a report. We met on June 13th, and basically what we did, we postponed action on the plastic bag ban legislation because we are working through some additional amendments that we received from the public. We did go over some amendments, but we determined it would be better just to get the amendments in writing and then have another committee meeting. So that's going to be postponed until our next meeting in July, which is possibly July 11th. And we did recommend favorably the associated fee resolution, which is the same fee as used by a number of local jurisdictions. Wesley, we also discussed the tree canopy goal as far as target year and tried to give some feedback to staff on that. And I think that's it. We are going to be having a joint meeting on the 11th with Rules and Government Committee to discuss the Eastport C&I resolution that we have and possibly talking about some amendments to that. So that's all I have. And Alderman Gay? I think it's just Rules and Government and Environmental. Is it going to, has it gone to your committee too? Okay. We can work that out if you want to do a joint meeting with us. All right, so Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is comments by the general public.
All right, so during comments from the public may not speak on items scheduled for public hearing at tonight's meeting. So the legislation scheduled for a hearing tonight is R424. So if you want to testify on that, please sign up in the back. For this is the general public comment, and I have one person signed up. And first of all, we have Miss Tara Stout.
Hi, Tara Stout. I always need tape if you're talking with the mic. Tara Stout, 1174 Bay Highlands Drive, Annapolis. I told everybody I hope the next time I came back was to tell everybody we were having a groundbreaking, and obviously a lot of you probably got the invitation, but the groundbreaking for the Willows is Thursday, June the 27th at 10:30. We're excited about it. Anyone in the community, a lot of people have supported the project. You're welcome to join us. We believe the project is well received by the community. Anybody who has driven by Forest Drive has likely seen the grading going. I was pleasantly surprised by the number of phone calls I got from the allegedly so-called not in my backyard neighbors. Instead, they were all calling me, celebrating to see the equipment on the lot and the work happening. So the community is really excited about this, and I wanted them to know that they're welcome to celebrate with us at the groundbreaking. We are having it at 10:30. We will be at the American Legion for a lunch afterwards, and if people are coming, we just encourage you to RSVP to events@hiphomes.org. Thank you.
Thank you. And let's see, I think, is anybody else like to speak? Please come forward to the podium. All right, seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for tonight. Next up, we do have, let's see, legislation public hearings. First up, we have R424. No? Next up. Is that right? Yeah, okay. So next up, we do have R424. Anybody who would like to speak on this, please. I don't have anybody signed up. Oh, we do have one person. I'm sorry. Almost missed. Dan Clements, please come and offer your testimony.
Good evening. Well, my name is Dan Clements. I live at 17 Southgate Avenue here in Annapolis. I was here a year ago, December, on the Public Works Yard and the plans to have the Public Works Yard become housing. I'm back to remind you of what I said a year and a half ago and have been talking about for a long time, that that land is contaminated. And we know it's contaminated, and I'm sorry the mayor isn't here, because I have a letter to the mayor of 11/30/18, which is before he first proposed those $48 million townhouses. And that included a report from the Spa Creek Headwaters Subwater Restoration Management Plan, which listed all the chemicals that are in the ground. That was done in 2006 in the report. So the mayor and the city have been under notice that that land has been seriously contaminated because it was the city dump and the incinerator. It's still the gas station, and it's also the salt works across the street. The part with the salt works, the salt dome across the street, has never been tested in any fashion. And the mayor, and I'm sorry he's not here tonight, ignored my letter and the information and continued on. Eventually, I implored the city to test the property. I heard back from the mayor and David Jarrell that they were going to leave the testing to the contractor who bought the property on the swap. If you remember, it was supposed to be a land swap. And they said, oh, we're going to leave it to him, Bizzuto and Mr. Baum. And I said, you can't do that. I'm a lawyer. I've been a member of the bar for 52 years. This is a serious issue of liability for the city. If there's something wrong with this property and you build housing on it and people get sick, you are responsible as a city for what happens there. So I'm gravely concerned for the city because you are on notice of the problems. Then I read in January, December, that it's now part of the long-range plan, that you're going to put public housing there. So I go to the meeting and I said, how does the long-range plan not include that you have to remediate this land, test this land before you build housing on it? And all I got was oh, really? So I insisted and wrote, and then they included in the long-range plan language which says, no redevelopment of the site will happen until comprehensive phase 1 and phase 2 environmental assessment is conducted. Nothing has happened, except the mayor came forward with a resolution for you all pass to say it was okay with the city to put public housing on that property. Now that's been stalled, fortunately, in the environmental committee, but the mayor presented it as a, yeah, let's approve that we're gonna have public housing there with no testing. Then I read the phase 2 testing and I don't understand it, because the original testing that was done at our insistence in 2019, and I say ours, mine, and Spa Creek Conservancy's, that testing was done to 15 feet. And it was adequate for certain areas. When I look at the map of what the testing is going to be, and I've consulted someone in the state government, so I can't name that person because this may eventually get to MDE, that person said this is inadequate testing. It's only going down a foot or 4 feet. The test in 2019 went down 15 feet and found all these chemicals, and MDE said it would take tens of millions of dollars, at least $10 million, to clean the property. So why am I back here? I'm back here to remind you to say, don't do this. And the testing that's been proposed for phase 2 is not adequate. You've hired a different company than the one
Thank you,
that
Mr.
did the
Clemens.
2019 testing, and it's inadequate, not enough sites, not deep enough. The result will cause further concern because you want to have people living on this property. I've
Thank you, Mr.
exceeded my
Clemens.
3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. As Environmental Matters Chair, I do take it to heart, and we will continue looking into this. That's the intention of having it in committee. So I will talk to staff about this and possibly add it to our agenda for the next Environmental Matters.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
Just
Alderman
very
Gay.
quickly clarifying, it is not solely public housing. That's all.
Thank you. All right.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
Yes, Alderwoman.
When is your Environmental Matters Committee again? I didn't write it down, I'm sorry.
July 11th.
July
at 3
11th
p.m.
At 3 p.m.
It's a Thursday.
Thank you.
Yes.
And so that's what
Alderman Gay?
just be quickly, because if your committee has it, our committee is interested in, so it's 3 committees, why not just make it a work session so that we can all be present for that? I think we all have either want to do amendments or whatever, yeah, so.
Yeah, thank you, Alderman. That's a good idea. This isn't set in stone, so we can maybe see what would make the most sense. Although the only issue is the committees will have to vote, and we can't vote in a work session. All right, so I'm going to declare the public hearing closed on R424, but I do want to neglected to invite Mr. Lashinsky. I think now would be appropriate if you wanted to, you said you had a few remarks you wanted to make on the next steps, I think, for this legislation and the comp plan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Eric Lashinsky, Chief of Comprehensive Planning. Don't have much to say tonight. I just wanted to clarify the public hearing tonight was for the amendments that the City Council has introduced to the draft comprehensive plan. That was the intent of the public hearing tonight. The draft comprehensive plan was approved by the Planning Commission January 4th, which then sent it to the City Council at their meeting on February 12th. And since then, we've had 4 work sessions with the City Council and staff and have gone through a number of changes, primarily clarifying amendments to the comprehensive plan. Some have added some significant language to the plan to aid in that clarification. I'm particularly excited about the ward profiles that are now part of the comprehensive plan. And so there's 2 amendments that the public can see on the associated with this resolution to adopt the comprehensive plan. And one are what we're calling major text amendments. And then the second are changes to the goals and performance measures. None change the intent of those, but they're primarily clarifying, simplifying the language to make the document more readable by the public. And we are moving towards anticipated vote on the comprehensive plan on July 8th at the regular City Council meeting that evening. We have some additional amendments that we've received in the last week from council members, and we're in the process of formalizing those. So those will be on the agenda for that meeting. If the public has additional concerns, I just encourage them to reach out to council members. But we've been running a very deliberate, transparent process for more than 4 years now. And the website for the comprehensive plan throughout has been AnnapolisAhead2040.com. There's a major link to it on the city's website. And the public can find information about all the updates and the current draft of the plan there. So I encourage folks to check it out.
Thank you, Mr. Lashinsky. And I would encourage colleagues to take a look, because the document, the revised document is posted with the legislation, and it's highlighted, I think has different colors to highlight the changes that have been made. So this will be our last opportunity to get any additional changes made before, I guess, the final vote on July 7th, you said? 8th.
And I would just reiterate that the schedule for that vote is based on a schedule that we received from the state of Maryland's Department of Planning. They essentially give us 90 days plus an optional 60-day extension from when the Planning Commission has approved the draft comprehensive plan. So we're working towards that.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. City Attorney, could you
Can
present?
we ask him a question or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we
yeah,
can
go ahead,
ask.
Alderman.
Can we ask him a question?
Attorney.
I think it's just a nomenclature thing. I was a little bit confused, but it doesn't take much. There's, in Granicus, you say Amendment 1 and Amendment 2 that you just spoke of, the text changes. The amendment summary chart dated April 26, is that meant to be just a list of all of the revisions? How does that correlate to the amendments? Do you know what I'm saying?
That's a companion document to Amendment 2. So
Okay.
the changes that were made to goals and performance measures, we created that chart just to kind of summarize which ones had changed and which. The Amendment 2, if folks look at that, it's sort of a track changes version of where the edits happened, so people can literally see words that were removed or updated. But that chart is really just a summary of those changes.
Of the edits, and all the acting mayor's correct. It really says a lot. The summary chart.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Lashinsky? All right. Seeing none, thank you again. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is legislative actions on first reader, beginning with resolutions R 2824, city-supported special events in fiscal year 2025.
Excuse me.
All right, is there a motion to adopt R 2824 on first reader?
Second.
All right. Mr. City Attorney, would you present the next item on the agenda?
No, you gotta vote, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, aye. All those opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, now please present the next item.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is Resolution R 3024, Collective Bargaining Agreement, United Food and Commercial Workers, International Union Local 400.
So moved.
All right,
Second.
thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. This is to adopt on first reader.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Is there a motion to suspend the rules to allow passage of this resolution at the meeting of its introduction?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it sounds like motion carries. Is there a motion to adopt R 3024 on second reader?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Gay.
So I'm clicking to get more information on it, but it's saying the record is currently unavailable. I'm just curious of any substantial changes.
Sorry, it's saying what is unavailable?
The record is unavailable, like if you click on R 3024, the staff and fiscal impact report.
Okay. Well, we actually have Mr. Sorry, I don't have your name in here. We have, I apologize. We have our negotiator who can join us and present an update, a summary, I should say, on this resolution and the agreement.
Thank you for having me.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, Garrett Wozniak, outside labor attorney for the city of Annapolis. We recently concluded negotiations with UFCW Local 400, the union representing the city's police, on a 2-year collective bargaining agreement that will run from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2026. As part of this agreement, the city and the union agreed to a new pay scale that is comprised of 19 steps with various iterations of differences between steps. It's a good agreement. One of the things that this new scale does is it eliminates the longevity pauses so that employees will receive a step increase annually for the duration of this agreement. In addition, through the course of collective bargaining negotiations, the city and union agreed to increases of the clothing and equipment allowance for officers so that they have additional funds for uniforms, both officers who are in the standard uniform, but also plain clothes officers. Other changes to the agreement include modifications to the retiree medical program to add a bucket for those officers who have served for at least 20 but less than 25 years so that they are eligible for retiree medical benefits at a 60-40 split. Other key changes in this collective bargaining agreement include a tuition reimbursement program that will be citywide, modification to the city's DROP program, which is the early retirement deferred retirement option program, adding a voluntary fifth-year option for those who enroll on or after July 1st of this year. Other changes include modifications and clarifications to the assignment of work of officers for overtime and how voluntary and mandatory overtime work, as well as the ability for officers to purchase service if they have prior military or police service so that they can have purchase service that will be used or can be used toward their eligibility for retirement. We reached this agreement after a series of negotiations. I am very pleased to report that it was collegial, professional, and very collaborative to reach an agreement that is both good for the city and for the members of Local 400.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Wozniak? No. Alderman Arnett?
Not a question, two comments. One, the Financial Advisory Commission reviewed all of the union contracts last Thursday, I believe it was, and while they noted they wanted more time to review it, they found no objections to it. I wanted to commend all of our staff for an excellent set of staff reports on all four of the union agreements. There was nothing you needed to know that was not in the staff report, and it's, in my time, it's the best staff report we've received on the union contract. So, and I know a lot of work went into the negotiations, and I think we owe our staff and our negotiator thanks for all their efforts.
Thank you. Are there any other, yes, Alderwoman Tierney?
Yes, I don't want to dismiss what my colleague said by any means. I think the ditto and all that, but in reference to the same letter from the Finance Advisory Commission, they again expressed pretty much in layman's term, we approve, but we wish we had more time to look at it. So I don't know what other platform I can use, but I would like some commitment from the city manager that we either get rid of the code as far as deadline, or we make an effort to we have 2 years now to think about this, that we make an effort to get the union agreements in tandem with the mayor's budget. Or if not, provide a reason why not, and we have to amend the code accordingly. And because I think it's rude to the Finance Advisory Commission to just give them something that we are voting for, and a week later. So something has to be done about it. I don't know the answer, but I just want some commitment from the city that something will be done.
Yes, Alderman Arnett.
So now that you're staying with us, Alderwoman, I invite you, I made a commitment to the Financial Advisory Commission that I would work on legislation. This has been I wouldn't want to call it a sore spot, but a point of debate for several years now, and the code clearly calls for an advanced role for the commission, but it's not very specific, and I think we need to address it. I understand their frustration. I think we were all frustrated we didn't get the contracts sooner, early on in the budget process. We got it as soon as we could, but the fact is in code designed to have a much stronger role, and I promised to work on that as a piece of legislation with our Office of the Law.
All right, thank you. Alderman Gay?
Thank you so much, and thank you to the alderman for just letting me look through his download really quick. I agree the staff report was very detailed, even just what I looked at, so thank you very much, Cynthia, for that. 3 quick observations. The signing bonus and the starting pay increase. I think it beneficial, obviously. I'm assuming that the funding that we have set aside would cover this for frozen. Okay, that was my only question. Everything looks good, and I hope that the signing bonus, which is at $20,000, is attractive and helps us get more police officers. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
City Manager?
Michael Malinoff. I will be brief. Whenever I hear about the timing and completion of it, it reminds me of what my 4th and 5th grade teacher would always say with me, and I hope you can hear this, Ms. Finn, is it takes 2 to tango. I used to always get into a little bit of mischief, and she would stand up for me because, I wasn't the only one getting into mischief. And then the collective bargaining process, it's both sides. And we worked very hard to bring it to a conclusion as soon as we could. And so I commit to that, and we understand.
I just want the code to reflect the reality, that's all. Yeah.
Understood.
All right, thank you. Seeing no further comments, I'd like to have a final roll call vote on R 3024. So, Madam City Clerk?
Yes, sir.
Please call the
Acting
roll.
Mayor Savage.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tierney.
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
Aye.
Alderman Pendle Charles.
Aye.
Alderwoman Finlayson.
Aye.
Alderman Shannemeyer.
Aye.
Alderman Gay.
Aye.
Alderman Sack. Arnett, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is second readers, beginning with Charter Amendment CA 124, Department of Central Services for the purpose of reconstituting the Department of Central Services in the city charter, moving public purchasing duties from the Finance Department, the Department of Central Services, and moving facilities management, fleet operations, and fleet replacement duties from the Department of Public Works to the Department of Central Services and generally related to Department of Central Services responsibilities.
So move.
All right. Thank you. There is an amendment. And so is there any motion to amend CA 121 on second reader? Is there a motion for that amendment?
I'd like to move amendment number 1.
I'll second it.
All right. And is there any discussion?
There should be.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
I guess my question would be to the city manager. I know that this was an amendment that we discussed in the Finance Committee. And could you tell us the reasoning behind moving, the television studio to Central Services? And is there any detriment to us not moving?
May I? Michael Malinoff, City Manager. The whole gist of the move was really recognizing that it's continuity of operation regardless of who is in the mayor's seat. And I think it was just decided that it's a contract that the city enters into, whether or not it's with Central Services or where it is now, and it should be secure. But that was the sole and exclusive reason why we were looking at Central Services for its placement, thinking that it might provide a little more security for the position. But there's not much more I can say than that. I don't think you'll have a problem as long as there's a contract if it stays where it is.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I've seen no further discussion. All those in favor of Amendment 1, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. Motion carries. And is there, let's see, is there a motion to vote on whether or not amendments to CA 124 are substantive?
Skip all the yellow.
I can skip that.
Nothing happens. Skip
Okay. All right. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll. No, oh, I'm sorry. Motion to adopt on second reader first. Second reader. Motion to adopt on second reader. Is there a motion? As amended?
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor of adopting CA 124 as amended on second reader, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right, motion carries. Is there a motion to adopt CA 124 as amended on third reader?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Acting Mayor Savage.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tierney.
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
Aye.
Alderman Pendle Charles.
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson.
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer.
Aye.
Alderman Gay.
Aye.
Alderman Arnett.
All right.
Congratulations. It's a big one.
Carries, yes. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is ordinances for second reader, begin with 0824, Department of Central Services.
So moved.
This is a motion to adopt on second reader.
So moved.
Is there an amendment?
Yes.
Is there a motion on the amendment?
So move Amendment 1.
Okay, any discussion about the amendment?
Madam Chair, it's the same amendment as in the previous charter amendment to remove the TV studio from central services.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor of the amendment 1, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And now, is there a motion to adopt on second reader as amended?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, motion carries. Is there a motion to adopt 0824 as amended on third reader?
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Acting Mayor Savage.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tierney.
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
Aye.
Alderman Pendle Charles.
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson.
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer.
Aye.
Alderman Gay.
Aye.
Alderman Arnett.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is ordinance 0924, FY 2025, changes in exempt service job classifications.
Is there a motion to adopt 0924 on second reader?
So
Second.
moved.
All right, is there
Move the Buckley Amendment.
a second on that motion?
I will second the motion for Amendment 1.
Any discussion? Alderman Gay?
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. I have two quick questions. My first is, why are we not waiting until the comp and pay plan is done until we do this?
All right, City Manager?
Michael Malinoff, City Manager. Councilman Gay, this puts it on the same scale that we've been using, not the new scale. So when we get the new scale, wherever that lands, we'll be coming back to you all and getting your concurrence on it. So it simply establishes it based on what we do now.
Okay, and so, but if it wasn't changed, is it really necessary to?
It's a new position, so it had to get on the scale.
It adds the
The
end.
Director of Central Services
Right.
is a new position, okay.
Right. And it puts it in the range of similar, but
Have you hired her?
no,
Okay.
we haven't even.
And second question, because I had an amendment actually that would group the public safety leaders, and I'm wondering, and maybe the HR director could speak to this, F20, P20, and N20, are those the same thing?
F is fire.
Oh, no, F is fire, P is
What do you
police,
mean?
but are they on the same scale is my question?
Is your question, are they on the same?
Similar scale, scale and pay is my question. Obviously, F20 is whatever, I'm assuming their units, that's P20 is what is set by police, and then N20 is just for all directors. What would the equivalent be for the Director of Office of Emergency Management, which is considered public safety? And so if we were to group all three public safety officials together, what would that be? Would that be the E2, the executive scales?
Assistant City Manager, please identify yourself.
I can comment on that. What I would recommend you do is when we are completing the review of the executive scales, we'll bring that forward to you, and you can look to an equivalency if you so choose to the other public safety positions, but obviously that isn't final yet.
Okay, no, thank you so much.
And the P is obviously the police chief.
Yeah.
And the F is the fire chief. So the new scale will probably lump public safety within the same general classification. As to where that lands, I can't give you that because I haven't seen it.
Okay.
But I would recommend you wait till then.
Perfect.
And we just needed to put central services on the scale because once you adopt it, we have to advertise it. And that could very well change with the E scale, but that'll be up to you all, ultimately.
All right, I saw Alderman Arnett's hand.
I would note for the record that passage of this makes the compensation scale consistent with what we've approved in all of the union agreements, so pretty much should do this.
All right, Alderwoman O'Neill.
Thank you very much. I just wanted for clarification because you said this was just adding the Director of Central Services, but it also reads changes, levels, and does the amendment that we passed take out the rest of the things that it would change? Or are we changing everything without having our full?
Not for the executive staff.
City Manager.
The executive staff was removed and kept on its current scale. And that's what this amendment does because of the comments, the feedback we got from the City Council. And we have not completed that. We had an update today by the HR chief, and we're looking hopefully to get a final report by the end of this month. But until such time, these are the scales where they have been sitting this past year.
Okay.
All right, Alderwoman Tierney.
So with that said, thank you very much. What then is the objective of this ordinance? What does this do?
Well, it puts all the directors on the same scale that we've been on.
Right.
Until such time that you all choose, if you choose, to change it when the final report comes back.
That's what I mean. Why are we doing it now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Vicki Buckland, Assistant City Manager. So the ordinance, as amended, if it's amended, what it does, the practical upshot of what it's doing is it's, remember how we, in R17, separated the A and the N scales so that we have just a represented scale and a non-represented scale. Currently, all of the folks that are in this list, many of them are on that A scale. They need to be changed to the non-represented scale. So it's still an equivalent grade, but it would be on the non-represented scale, which is what's appropriate because that A scale that got approved as part of R17 doesn't have these grades. The N scale does.
Okay. So another way of asking is, Does this, I'm thinking it of as a classification benchmark, if you will, does it align with the approved fiscal year 2025 budget?
Yes,
Okay, so this goes hand in hand with the budget.
correct.
So subsequent to this, if we get the report, the infamous report, and they go through and they've got a whole slew of changes, that is going to be an amendment that
Correct.
could have fiscal consequences.
Correct.
Okay. But we have made the best, I'm not dismissing the work that our finance director and you and everyone has done to evaluate that exposure, if you will. Another way of saying we hope there won't be, but go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you're right, other than the infamous part, that when we get the final report back, we'll bring it forward to you all, and if there's changes recommended and there's a fiscal impact, we'll bring all that before you all. This does not do that.
Okay. I just want to explain my no vote on this. It is strictly, even understanding the alignment with the budget is strictly on principle. So I just want to say that before I vote. Not that
But
matters,
the directors, otherwise, none of the directors would get paid, though, if you don't
I
have
know.
a scale. Okay.
I know.
All right, seeing no further Alderwoman Finlayson.
Yes, thank you, Acting Mayor Savage. I want to be clear that what this amendment does is to add the Director of Central Services, who currently is not in our pay scale anywhere. The red, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Malinoff, the red items are the proposed changes, but after our discussions, we decided we did not want to make those changes, and therefore the blue takes us back to the original language. And we're adding the new Director of Central Services. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I see two hands. Alderman Gay was first, and then Alderman Arnett.
No, he is correct, and she is correct too. The red is, or at least as I'm reading it, the red, everything that's red is being added now. Director of Central Services, and then restructuring the ends on the side, non-represented. And the blues are changing the executives back to their traditional scale. So that's all correct. My question, who is the acting, or is there a current, or will there be, once we pass this tonight, an acting Director of Central Services? Who will manage that department?
We don't know yet. We have to advertise the position, and it will be an independent director.
So fleet replacement, and all the other responsibilities that are being pushed there, will they still be in their respective department? Okay, fantastic.
Correct.
Thank you.
Alderman Arnett.
So, and we did go over this quite thoroughly in Rules and City Government. The amendment adds a director, it adds the N scale, which is the non-represented, and it takes out the E scale and moves all of the level 19 and 20s back into where they are. So it's doing three things: the amendment to the original legislation. And I think we all, in Rules, were comfortable that this did the things that we wanted, was consistent with the budget, and was consistent with the union contract agreements. So I will be voting for the amendment.
All right, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of the Buckley Amendment 1, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right, and motion. Okay. And pardon me, I need to get clarification from the city clerk.
Are we suspending the rules on that? Because it has to have everybody's vote.
It's second reading.
Oh, okay.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 I just called for a motion on second reader as adopted. Are there, okay, so any nays?
No,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I'm hearing
no.
Alderwoman Pindell Charles, was that a vote?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Was that a yes or a no?
Yes,
Okay. All
I
right.
was speaking to Alderwoman O'Neill. Sorry about that.
All right, so motion carries on second reader as amended. And are there any, is there any motion that this is a substantive amendment? All right, hearing none. Is there a motion to adopt on third reader as amended?
Second.
All right, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Acting Mayor Savage,
Aye.
Alderwoman Tierney,
No,
Alderwoman O'Neill,
No.
Alderwoman Pindell Charles,
Aye.
Alderwoman Finlayson,
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer,
Aye.
Alderman Gay,
Aye.
Alderman Arnett.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, motion carries. And next, Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item.
Yes, the next item on the agenda is O3323, expiration of special exception to city zoning requirements, coming back for a 90-day discharge from the committee.
Alderman Shannemeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to refer this back to the committees and to the Planning Commission. There's still some more work to do on this.
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Be sending this back to committee. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is O224, hours for Tolson Street Park and Tucker Street Park.
Alderwoman O'Neill.
I'd like to make a motion to withdraw that O24.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Legislation is withdrawn. Thank you. Next up, we have R2924. Is there a motion to adopt this on second reader?
So move.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion or amendment to this? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of R2924 on second reader, please say aye.
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 Need a roll call.
Oh, that's right. So, Madam City Clerk, please do a roll call on this.
Acting Mayor
Aye.
Alderwoman Tierney,
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill,
Aye.
Alderman Pindell Charles,
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson,
Aye.
Alderman Shannon Meyer,
Aye.
Alderman Gay,
Aye.
Alderman Arnett.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, I think that concludes our agenda, right? Correct, Mr. City Attorney?
Agenda is complete, Mr. Mayor.
All right, is there anything else for the good of the
yeah.
order? I see
Yeah, I
Alderwoman Tierney.
just want to make another shout out to Alderwoman Finlayson for Alpha Way. That was huge as far as the recognition. And it just makes me so proud. I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but it's just such an important thing for downtown to do because of the past history and all, and it's just a step, but just thank you so much for that. And I heard it was a wonderful celebration. There's great pictures that I think Paul Gillespie took.
Alderwoman Finlayson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to say thank you to all of the staff who stepped up to help. Public Works, Recs and Parks, Transportation, OEM. I mean, it truly was a team effort to pull it off. And while the governor wasn't able to attend, the mayor was there, and the Alphas had dignitaries from their national level on down to, tens of thousands, not tens of thousands, but many of their local members were able to participate. Thank you to Alderwoman Pindell Charles for attending that ceremony. And it was a real feather in our cap to be able to do, to name the street Alpha Phi Alpha Way. So thank you to the whole team and the mayor's office, Kate and Will and Hillary. Everyone stepped up to help. So just a big thank you to everyone.
Yeah, we're way ahead of you. We're good.
All right, Alderwoman O'Neill.
Thank you very much. I had the opportunity on Saturday while you all were walking on the streets, just kidding, to attend the Elks Tri-State meeting. And as you probably know, our local Elks organization is on West Washington Street, so Ward 2. So I very happily got to go and greet and bring greetings from the city to one of my favorite people in the world, Mr. Gregory Connolly, who has known my children since they were kindergartners. But our local Elks are celebrating their 114th year. 2 years ago, they received city and state money to renovate their restrooms, and we are in the talks to really help do some outside landscaping for them as they're looking to provide more community programming. But it was really interesting to see Elks from Maryland, Delaware, Washington, D.C. come together, and we had a great showing of support for them. Stuart Pittman's office came out, Shanika Henson came out, and they were really excited that the city embraced them, and they're probably going to do their next 3 tri-state annual meetings in Annapolis because of how much fun they had. So, thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to just wish a happy Father's Day to everybody, Alderman.
You
and
too,
everyone else.
Mr. Mayor.
Anything else for good of the order? Mr. City Manager's good?
Mr. City Manager needs to learn not to kibitz while y'all are voting, because I missed that last vote, so thank you.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
You gotta keep them in line, Vicki.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Good night, everybody.
Good night.